Some legends aren't born, they are forged in a crucible of the impossible, whispered into existence by the silent screams of vanquished empires. Listen closely. Have you ever considered the true nature of a giant? Not just the size, but the ancient, primal power they represent. A force that rises from the earth, seemingly insurmountable, yet often underestimated until it is too late. The New York Giants. Their name itself evokes a certain dread, a primordial weight. But it's not their physical stature that casts the longest shadow, it's an unsettling, almost supernatural knack for defying the natural order, for seizing triumph from the jaws of absolute certainty. They are not merely a football team, they are a recurring anomaly, an existential dread for the league's dominant forces. 4 Super Bowl titles. Each one a monumental upset, a statistical improbability, a heart-stopping twist of fate that leaves you wondering if their victories are merely skilled plays, or something far more ancient, far more predatorial. Their story isn't one of predictable success, but of a quiet, relentless force that emerges from the depths when the stakes are highest, a blue-clad harbinger of chaos for those who dare to dream of dynasty. They are the nightmare that awakens the giants within. They don't just win, they break the will of their opponents, tearing down carefully constructed empires with a chilling, almost surgical precision. From the grid of the Polo Grounds, a stark arena cradled in the heart of a city that never sleeps, the legend began to coagulate, a dark, potent brew of desperation and unyielding will. In an era when football was less a spectacle and more a brutal, elemental clash, the Giants carved their identity not with finesse, but with raw, unyielding force, a primal scream echoing across dusty fields. Picture it, the Great Depression gnawing at the soul of the nation, yet these men, these Iron Men, as they were called, battled on, their faces grimed with dirt and resolve. They were a reflection of the city itself, bruised, defiant, and always, always hungry. Their early games were wars of attrition, played on pitches that were more mud than grass, under skies that often matched the gray mood of the times. Every yard gained was a testament to sheer, unadulterated willpower. It was here, in this crucible of hardship, that the first whispers of their unsettling nature began. It said that in the earliest Polo Grounds days, the Giants sometimes employed a specific, low-frequency hum during critical defensive stands, a sound imperceptible to the conscious ear but designed to induce an almost primal sense of unease and disorientation in opponents, a whispered tactic born from forgotten acoustic experiments. A subtle, psychological weapon, honed in the shadows, creating an atmosphere of inescapable pressure that clung to the air like a heavy shroud. Opposing players, though unaware of the source, reported an inexplicable fatigue, a disquieting sense of being watched, an inability to focus fully when the Giants' defense coiled. It was more than just noise, it was a subtle invasion of the senses, a subliminal suggestion of impending doom. This wasn't merely brute strength, it was an early sign of a deeper, more insidious strategy, a foreshadowing of the unsettling mental grip the Giants would learn to exert over their most formidable adversaries. The Polo Grounds, a place of historical glory, became in those moments, a theater of a psychological battle, where the roar of the crowd masked a more insidious sonic assault, a faint, almost vibrational dread that seeped into the very bones of those who faced them. The Giants understood, even then, that victory wasn't just about physical superiority, it was about the slow, agonizing erosion of an opponent's mental fortitude, a chilling prelude to the heartbreaks they would inflict for decades to come. The decades rolled on, marked by periods of both brilliance and stark, almost desolate struggle. The glamorous Frank Gifford, the grizzled Y.A. Tittle, the ferocious Sam Huff, legends emerged, etching their names into the Giants' lore, yet the team's overall trajectory remained a jagged line, a testament to enduring hardship rather than consistent dominance. The late 60s and the entire 70s, in particular, represented a wilderness period so bleak, so devoid of hope, it felt less like a slump and more like an active curse. Years bled into each other, each one bringing fresh disappointments, each season ending with the same hollow ache. The franchise, once a titan, seemed to wander lost in a desolate landscape, searching for a path back to relevance. It was during these barren times, when the very spirit of the team seemed to shrivel, that the desperation led to measures far beyond conventional sports psychology or strategy. During the seemingly endless, desolate years of the 1970s, when the team felt truly cursed, an obscure consultant was reportedly hired, not for strategy, but to cleanse the locker room of an accumulating negative energy, engaging in peculiar, undocumented rituals involving ancient salts and a map marked with ley lines beneath their then-new Meadowlands Stadium, a desperate attempt to reset their very fortune. These were whispered anecdotes, dismissed by many as folklore, yet the accounts persisted: strange flickering lights in empty corridors, an unsettling chill in certain areas of the facility even in summer, the faint scent of something metallic and ancient in the air after the consultant departed. It was an acknowledgement, in the darkest corners of the organization, that conventional methods had failed, and that perhaps, the team's misfortunes weren't merely bad luck, but something more entrenched, a spiritual malaise demanding an unconventional, almost archaic remedy. This wasn't about winning, it was about survival, about stripping away the layers of accumulated defeat and seeking an unidentifiable force to reset the cosmic scales. The Meadowlands, meant to be a beacon of hope, instead became a quiet theater for these unsettling practices, a place where the physical game blurred with the unseen, a desperate plea for an unseen hand to guide them out of the ever-deepening abyss. The silence of those years, punctuated only by the cries of frustrated fans, hid a deeper, more unsettling narrative of a team grappling not just with opponents, but with an almost spiritual void. Then came the seismic shifts, the moments that didn't just win games but shattered paradigms. The 1986 Giants, under the stern gaze of Bill Parcells and the unflappable leadership of Phil Simms, broke through, not with flash, but with an almost suffocating defense, a relentless, bone-jarring physicality that choked the life out of opponents. Their first Super Bowl, a dominant display, was a revelation. But it was just a prelude. 4 years later, against the Buffalo Bills' high-octane offense, they did it again, snatching victory in a nail-biting, strategic masterclass, a testament to their unwavering belief in themselves when all others doubted. These were not just victories, they were statements, declarations that the Giants would not be counted out, no matter the odds. But the true, terrifying legend began to solidify in the modern era. The Patriots dynasty, a seemingly invincible juggernaut led by an unblemished quarterback and a legendary coach, stood as an insurmountable barrier, not once, but twice. These were teams destined for historical greatness, teams that simply did not lose when it mattered most. Yet, against the Giants, their narratives fractured, their dynasties unraveled. Before each of their Super Bowl conquests against seemingly invincible dynasties, a peculiar, collective prescience would reportedly settle over the Giants' locker room, not a confidence, but a quiet, almost unsettling certainty, as if an unseen script had already been delivered, their role as the impending harbinger of collapse preordained by an obscure, shared vision. Players spoke of a strange calm, a lack of the usual pre-game jitters, replaced by an eerie sense of knowing what was about to unfold, a chilling clarity that transcended mere preparation. It wasn't bravado, it was an internal echo of a predetermined fate. This quiet certainty wasn't comforting, it was almost chilling, a whisper of a power that saw beyond the field, beyond the statistics, directly into the heart of their opponents' meticulously planned reigns. It suggested that their upsets weren't just the result of extraordinary execution, but of an almost mystical alignment, a pre-written destiny that only the Giants seemed privy to, setting them apart as not just challengers, but as instruments of an inevitable, unholy reckoning against the most powerful forces in the game. They weren't just playing football, they were fulfilling a chilling prophecy. Consider the final moments of those Super Bowls. Not just the jubilant celebrations of the Giants, but the utterly broken expressions of their opponents. The New England Patriots, twice, on the precipice of undisputed immortality, their eyes reflecting not just defeat, but a profound, uncomprehending shock, as if the very fabric of reality had torn before them. The Buffalo Bills, a juggernaut that seemed destined for a dynasty, watching a field goal sail wide, a single kick defining not just a game, but a generation of heartbreak. It's more than just losing, it's the sense of an unseen hand, a malevolent presence that snatches victory away in the most agonizing fashion imaginable, leaving behind a wake of psychological devastation. The Giants don't just win, they devour hope. They don't just beat teams, they shatter their very identity, leaving an indelible scar that time struggles to heal. Think of the helmet catch, a play so improbable, so utterly defying the laws of physics and probability, it felt less like human athletic prowess and more like a moment of cosmic intervention, a fleeting breach in the ordinary world. The fear isn't